Hello, I'm Raymond and this is Nightline. The top stories. Quota system in public universities to stay, says Prime Minister. And more witnesses to be called in by MACC over KLIA probe. Good morning. The quota system for Bumiputra students in education needs to be maintained in order to balance the number of students from the community in institutions of higher learning. Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim said if the system was not retained, it could cause an imbalance in the number of Malays who form the majority of Bumiputra in IPTs, including in certain disciplines.
Kalau tengok semua program ini, dia memberi manfaat pada anak Melayu. Malah program kota ini saya setuju kekalkan. Tetapi kita kena cari jalur lain untuk memberi ruang kepada anak-anak bukan Melayu, bukan Bumiputra yang pintar, yang keputusannya baik supaya jangan nampak tersisih. Maknanya peluang itu bertambah.
He was responding to a student's question regarding the quota system and meritocracy in the current national education system during the Temu Anwar Kedah program at Universiti Utara Malaysia, UUM. The Prime Minister said that having the quota system, however, did not mean that meritocracy was dead, and if there were students from among non-Malay and Bumiputra who excel, the government must find ways to give them opportunities as well. Dr. Sri Anwar stressed that if the government took action to set aside the quota policy, it would cause tension and be turned into a political issue by certain parties. The Premier said he had instructed Education Minister Fadlina Siddiq for the system to be maintained and at the same time open up opportunities for students who excelled to further their studies.
Sebab kalau kita ambil keputusan sekarang, ketepikan sama sekali dasar yang kota Bumiputra, itu akan jadi peperangan luar besar. Ya. Dalam politik itu akan digunakan, ini sejak jadi Perdana Menteri, dia telah menghilangkan kota Melayu, maka selera kalau kita. Jadi saya cadangkan, ya, dan saya sampaikan kepada Fadlina Menteri Pendidikan supaya kekalkan kota, tetapi buka ruang kepada yang bukan Melayu, yang punya keputusan yang baik, supaya jangan kita patahkan semangat dia. Anak muda pintar, kita bantu dia supaya dia dapat bersama dalam fakulti pilihannya.
On another matter, Dr. Sri Anwar criticized certain parties for claiming that the unity government under his leadership had failed to manage the country's economy after taking over the government 8 months ago. He said, to the contrary, several economic indicators were showing a positive trend, including the growth rate of 5.6% recorded in the first quarter of this year, which was higher than China, Singapore and Indonesia. The Prime Minister also noted that investments which came in the first quarter of the year totaled 71 billion ringgit. Apart from that, he said the inflation rate had also decreased to 2.8%, thus helping to control the increase in the prices of goods, although some price indices were still high. Dr. Sri Anwar said that as Finance Minister, he had never set aside the role of the state governments, especially those controlled by the opposition, in matters of economic development, explaining that most of the investments received by the states were through federal government agencies.
Sektor mana yang paling tinggi di Terengganu ini? Sektor oil and gas. Bawah mana? Bawah Petronas. Petronas bawah siapa? Bawah Perdana Menteri. Dan saya beritahu kepada Perdana Menteri besar, saya pergi China, ada pelaporan. Saya ingat auction yang petrochemical. Dia nak pergi Johor, saya bawa. Saya kata, you should look also at Terengganu. Sebab potensi kau bangun. Dan bangunnya ada satu cadangan baru tentang wind energy. Kosnya agak tinggi. Tapi dia cadang nak ekspor ke Singapura. Jadi saya kata kalau wind ini yang kuat, Pantai Timur. Saya pilih, saya kata Kelantan atau Terengganu.
The Prime Minister also cited Quota as another example, where the highest investment is in the Kulim High-Tech Park, where almost the entire amount brought in was with the assistance of the federal government. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has also refuted claims made by former Prime Minister Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who accused him of lying about the disposal of Federal Land Development Authority or FELDA settlers' debt, saying that it was under PN administration that the program was initiated. Sri Anwar, however, said that as the Finance Minister, he had just signed the approval of the disposal of the debt at the end of last month.
Belanjawan 2021 bawah Perikatan Nasional, 2022 bawah Perikatan Nasional, tidak ada peruntukan untuk menyelesaikan dan menepuskan hutang FELDA. I stand by this record. Ya. Hanya dalam belanjawan madani bulan November untuk 2023, saya mula sebahkan 990 juta peruntukan awal untuk melupuskan hutang federal yang jumlahnya hutang pengeroka jumlahnya 8,3 bilion.
More witnesses will be called in by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC to have their statements recorded to help with investigation over the commotion at KLIA recently. According to MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki, the investigation paper is expected to be completed within the next month before it is handed over to the Attorney General's chambers for further action. The MACC Chief Commissioner also denied recent media reports which allege that the MACC has not found any elements of bribery in the case. He said the probe into the incident is still ongoing and the MACC must be given some time to complete its investigation. He also advised all quarters against making any speculations that could possibly interfere with the investigation process.
Dalam kes siasatan yang kita telah jalankan ni ataupun sedang jalankan yang baru berusia dalam tempoh 6 hari, jadi saya mintalah mana-mana pihak termasuk pihak media supaya tidak membuat sebarang spekulasi dengan mengandaikan tiada elemen rasuah dibuktikan dalam kes ini. Jadi bila andaian dibuat, dia sebenarnya akan menimbulkan satu persepsi yang tidak baik. Jadi bagilah masa pada kami untuk meneruskan siasatan dan untuk pengetahuan semua, ada beberapa lagi saksi yang perlu kita panggil.
He stressed that there are several matters which require closer examination before the investigation can be completed. This includes looking into the regulations and procedures in place for the handling of not-to-land or NTL passengers due to various reasons, including passport validity, visa issue, criminal history, and security concerns. The issue came to light following a commotion at the KLIA Terminal 1 involving Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dr. Sri Tiong King Sing, who claimed that there was a culture of corruption within the Immigration Department's handling of arrivals of foreign visitors at KLIA. The police have recorded more than 20 statements so far, while the MACC has spoken to at least 14 people, including Dr. Sri Tiong, regarding the incident. The Health Ministry has denied that removing nicotine from the Poisons Act 1953 is akin to gambling with children's health. Its Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said the safety of children remained the ministry's priority. Dr. Zaliha, however, declined to elaborate on the matter, saying that it is now a court case after several non-governmental organizations, NGOs, filed a judiciary review against the move. She also stressed that the removal did not mean the ministry was neglecting the children, adding that there was no problem with removing nicotine from the poisons list. On April 1st, the Health Ministry published a Gazette notice stating that nicotine liquids and gels used in e-cigarettes and vape products had been granted exemption from poisons control. However, the move had earned criticism from several NGOs. Health experts have also called on the government to withdraw the move to exempt nicotine liquid for vape devices from the Poisons Act in the interest of children's safety and that of the next generation.
Kejadian yang menimpa Nur Suzaili Mukhtar pada 7 Oktober lalu membuka mata kita.
Dibawa ke tempat kejadian dan ternampak satu mayat perempuan dalam keadaan telanjang.
Hanafi, 38 tahun, merogol dan membunuh Suzaili.
Korban ni sempat nak pergi kat depan tu minta pertolongan melalui cermin. Dia kebetulan nampak.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
The Girl Guides Association of Malaysia PGPM has been instructed to explore new business opportunities, including those involving recycled materials. Raja Permaisuri Agong, Tunku Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria, said plastic bottles could be recycled and reused to make bags, cushions and blankets.
Pada tahun lepas saya telah pergi melawat The Chelsea Flower Show di England pada bulan Mei, dan saya amat kagum dengan apa yang saya masuk satu booth tu, dan cantik-cantik dia punya tenunan hamparan yang dia buat, bag dia buat, cushion dia buat selimut. Yang saya nak sama-sama kongsi ialah mereka di England mengambil semua botol plastik, dicairkan bersama hampas padi di India, dan apabila dicairkan mereka prosesnya saya tak tahu, tapi menjadi benang, ya, dan benang itu ditenun untuk membuat kapet, untuk membuat bag, untuk membuat selimut.
The Queen said this at the opening ceremony of the national-level Plastic Busters Beach River Park Cleanup Program at the Kuala Selangor Indoor Stadium in Selangor on Saturday. Tunku Aziza said the program could instill awareness at all levels of society about the importance of preserving and conserving the environment. Tunku Permaisuri Selangor, Tunku Permaisuri Norashikin, who is also the royal patron of Selangor PGPM, was also in attendance, along with PGPM President Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail. After this breather, building collapse claims 8 lives. The details when Nightline returns. An apartment building in northeastern Brazil collapsed on Friday, leaving at least 8 people dead and 5 still missing. Officials said the building collapse took place at about 6:35 a.m. local time, when many residents were likely still sleeping, and that as of 7 p.m. local time, 4 people had been rescued from the rubble of the building in the Janga neighborhood in the outskirts of state capital Recife. It was not immediately clear what caused the collapse. However, former residents of the block claimed that the authorities had evicted them from the building back in 2009, but others had moved into the building since. Pernambuco Governor Raquel Lyra also warned earlier in the day that more rain was expected, recommending locals make sure they can access safe structures as the city and its surrounding metro area were put under a state of attention declaration. In India, at least 7 people were killed and dozens others injured on Saturday following clashes over local polls in West Bengal, a state notorious for political violence during election campaigns. According to the authorities, more than 200 crude bombs, a staple of West Bengal elections that are sold cheaply on the black market to maim or intimidate voters, had also been seized during the polls. Voters are currently casting their ballots in a fierce contest to elect municipal leaders, with more than 200,000 candidates across the state of 104 million people. Heavy security presence was seen at voting booths, with paramilitary troops standing guard to keep order. The country's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, has in recent years worked hard to gain a toehold in West Bengal, ruled by a communist party for much of its history, to expand its reach beyond its Hindi-speaking northern heartlands. The Dutch government has collapsed after failing to reach an agreement on curbing immigration, as Prime Minister Mark Rutte on Friday said that his government would tender its resignation to the Dutch king, triggering new elections to be held in the fall. The move was sparked by differences between Rutte's conservative VVD party and coalition counterparts over measures to limit the flow of asylum seekers to the country. Rutte, Europe's second longest-serving leader, said that disputes over measures to restrict immigration had caused his four-party coalition government to fracture. He added that it was no secret that the coalition partners have differing opinions about immigration policy and that those differences have become insurmountable. King Willem Alexander has returned early from his vacation to meet Rutte on Saturday, when the Prime Minister will formally offer his resignation. On Monday, there will be a debate in Parliament about the fall of the government. Police in Paris have banned a protest on Saturday against violence by the force, a week after France was rocked by riots sparked by the killing of a teenager in a suburb of the French capital. The Paris Police Department said the decision to ban the planned demonstration on the Place de République was over risks to public order, citing a context of tensions. So far, it was not immediately clear whether the organizers would challenge the new ban by the Paris authorities. Earlier, French authorities and politicians, including President Emmanuel Macron, have denied institutional racism within the country's law enforcement agencies. The police have come under scrutiny after the June 27th fatal shooting by police officer of Nahel M at a traffic stop. It was believed that the 17-year-old was driving a sports car without a license. JDT notch another win in Super League sports when Nightline comes back. Super League. 3 matches took place on Saturday. Both Sabah and Penang recorded a narrow 4-3 win over Kuching City and Kelantan. At the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, a goal each from Feroz Baharudin and Leandro Velasquez gave Johor Darul Takzim, JDT, a 2-0 win over Negeri Sembilan. Feroz gave JDT the lead after 18 minutes and Velasquez sealed the win for the Southern Tigers 1 minute before half-time. With a win, JDT strengthened their grip at the top of the standings with 48 points, 14 points above second-placed Selangor. Sports tennis, the 2023 Wimbledon Championships. Novak Djokovic moved into the 4th round as he pursues some more significant numbers. A 5th consecutive title at Wimbledon, an 8th overall there, and also a 24th from all majors. He made quick work of Stan Wawrinka 6-3, 6-1, 7-6, 5 as he trailed 5-3 in the closing tiebreaker before reeling off the last 4 points. It was a 22nd consecutive third-round victory for the Serb, who last lost on centre court in 2018 against Sam Querrey. He will have a day off on Saturday, but will be back on Sunday against 17th seed Hubert Hurkacz. Earlier, Stefanos Tsitsipas ended Andy Murray's bid for a 3rd Wimbledon on Friday, winning his second-round encounter with a crowd favourite in 5 sets. Tsitsipas trailed Murray 2-1 when the match was suspended late on Thursday night, but the 5th seed took the 4th set on a tie-break and converted an early break in the decider into a 7-6, 3, 6-7, 2, 4-6, 7-6, 3, 6-4 victory. Tsitsipas will now face Serbia's Laslo Djere in the 3rd round, likely on Saturday. Murray's compatriot Cameron Norrie also went out on Friday after he was beaten in 4 sets by Christopher Eubanks. The American ousted last year's semi-finalist Norrie 6-3, 3-6, 6-2, 7-6, 3. Eubanks, who is making his Wimbledon debut, fired 62 winners and won 76% of points behind his hefty first delivery to advance after 2 hours 29 minutes. Eubanks, who's up to world number 40 in the Pepperstone ATP Live rankings, will next meet Christopher O'Connell, who ousted Jiri Vesely 6-3, 7-5, 6-4 in the 2nd round. In the women's event, Brazilian Beatriz Haddad-Maia moved into the last 16 after winning against Romanian Sorana Căstea 6-2, 6-2 at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. Haddad-Maia, ranked number 13, will play the winner of the match between wildcard Katie Bolter and Kazakh Elena Rybakina, the number 3 seed, next. It was the only match completed thus far on Saturday before the rain returned to Wimbledon on day 6 of the grass court tournament, suspending all play on all outside courts. Still to come on Nightline, baby drowns in river after falling off float. Don't go away. staying with us. In Quota, a father's kayak ride with his family turned tragic when the baby he was carrying slipped from his arms into the waters of Sungai Ketil on Saturday. Baling District Police Chief Superintendent Shamsuddin Mamat said in the 11:50 a.m. incident, the 30-year-old father is believed to have lost his footing, causing the baby to slip from his grasp. Due to the unfortunate incident, the baby, identified as Adrian Mikhail Muhammad Afik, was then carried away by the current. In light of this, a joint search and rescue operation was carried out with members of the Baling Fire and Rescue Department and officers from the district police station to rescue the innocent baby. The mother of the victim, along with other family members and friends, were also at the scene at the time of the incident. It was learned that the body was discovered at 12:45 p.m. with the assistance of the public and villagers in Kampung Sungai Limau. The body of the victim was sent to the hospital for further action. In Negeri Sembilan, a 7-year-old girl died after the bicycle she was riding collided with the rear tire of a garbage truck in Taman Pinggiran Felda, Sungai Kelama, Gemas on Saturday morning. Tampin District Police Chief Superintendent Anwar Abdul Wahab said the victim, identified as Aminah Muhammad Hafiz, died at the scene due to severe injuries sustained in the 11:30 a.m. incident. Initial investigations revealed that the garbage truck driven by a 55-year-old man had made a U-turn to collect rubbish in the area before the victim suddenly dashed out from her house and hit the right tire of the lorry. The lorry driver then alighted from the driver's seat and found the girl under the rear tire. The body was sent to the Tampin Hospital for post-mortem, and the case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act 1987. In Selangor, a man was found dead after his house in Kampung Seri Puchung caught fire on Saturday. According to State Fire and Rescue Department Director Wan Mat Razali Wan Ismail, his department received an emergency call regarding the incident at 2:30 a.m. He said a team of personnel, along with 5 fire engines from the Puchong, Cyberjaya and Section 7 fire and rescue stations, were then deployed to the scene. Upon arrival, they found a house on a plot of land engulfed in flames, and immediate firefighting operations were initiated before the fire was successfully controlled at 3:11 a.m. Further inspection by the authorities discovered the body of a 37-year-old man who perished in the incident. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And with that, this has been Nightline. We leave you now with visuals from Dior's fall show on the first day of Haute Couture Week in Paris, which projected a lineup of slender dresses and capes in neutral tones and touches of gold and silver, inspired by classical Rome. Let's take a look together. With that, I'm Raymond. Thank you for your company and have a good weekend.